We all love to watch our heroes win. But let's be honest, sometimes the most satisfying victories aren't even our own. My gut tells me you know what I'm talking about. It's those moments where a villain's master plan just spectacularly implodes, or a rival's smug smirk gets wiped off his face for good. These aren't just losses. They're the complete collapse of ego, ambition, and flawed philosophies that fans have been cheering for. From a rival's cold-hearted strategy shattering to Team Rocket's single biggest failure, here are the 7 most satisfying downfalls in Pokémon. Starting with number 7, Trip, the Unova photographer with an ego as big as his camera lens. From the moment he showed up, Trip was dismissive. He saw Ash as a hick from the backwoods of Kanto, a total joke who didn't get the basics. And for a while, the show seemed to agree. In their very first battle, his brand new Snivy beat Ash's Pikachu. A Pikachu that, as many fans know, had previously tied with a literal Latios. This back just inflated Trip's already massive ego, setting up a rivalry built on his smug condescension. But that's what makes his downfall so perfect. It all came to a head in the first round of the Unova League. Ash's Pikachu versus Trip's fully evolved Superior. Trip was confident. His strategy was flawless. But he underestimated the bond between Ash and his partner. In a stunning finale, Pikachu combined Iron Tail and Electro Ball, a move born from instinct that shattered Trip's perfect by-the-book plan. The downfall wasn't just a loss. It was the complete dismantling of his condescending worldview, capped off with a look of pure disbelief that said it all. The kid from the boonies just schooled him on the biggest stage. At number 6, we have the one-time Team Rocket flew too close to the sun. For years, Jesse, James, and Meowth were comic relief. But in Unova, something changed. They got serious. They traded the white uniforms for black, got a budget for actual tech, and for the first time, they were a genuine threat. There was some shady shit going on. This new, competent Team Rocket put together their most ambitious scheme ever, Operation Tempest. They captured the mythical Pokémon Meluetta to find the abyssal ruins and used the reveal glass to control the forces of nature. Their boss, Giovanni, even showed up and personally overpowered Ash with a legendary trio. They were on the verge of conquering Unova. The satisfaction here is watching it all collapse under its own weight. Giovanni, corrupted by the power, decided conquering Unova wasn't enough. He was going to destroy it. And in that moment, the very grunts who orchestrated this grand plan, Jesse, James, and Meowth, had to pull the plug on their own boss. Their one shot at being the ultimate villains they dreamed of fell apart because of their own internal failure. It was so much worse than they ever could have imagined.
Number 5 brings us to the end of Lysander and Team Flare. This guy wasn't just a thief. He was a charismatic visionary with a horrifying plan. On the surface, he's the genius behind the Holocaster, preaching about creating a more beautiful world. But his definition of beautiful was terrifying. Lysander believed the world was overpopulated and tainted. His solution? Use a 3,000-year-old ultimate weapon to wipe out everyone not loyal to him. He manipulated trainers, harnessed the power of Zygarde, and brought the Kalos region to its knees, all with a serene smile. The satisfaction is watching that carefully constructed beautiful philosophy crumble into ugly, unhinged rage. When Ash and his friends stood against him, his calm demeanor cracked, revealing the madman underneath. Even after his weapon was stopped, he refused to accept defeat. Consumed by his own madness, he tried to turn the weapon's power on everyone, himself included, and was seemingly consumed in the blast. A fitting end for a villain whose ego was so massive that he couldn't see the beauty in the world he was so desperate to destroy. At number 4 is the original, the blueprint for every arrogant rival to come, Gary Oak. From episode 1, Gary was everything Ash wasn't. He was Professor Oak's grandson. He left town in a convertible with his own cheerleading squad, and he was always, infuriatingly, 10 steps ahead. Their rivalry defined the early years of the anime. But his downfall is a slow burn masterpiece. It wasn't one single event, but a gradual humbling. We see the first crack in his perfect facade when he gets wiped out off-screen by Mewtwo. But the true, cathartic moment comes at the Johto League Silver Conference. After a grueling 6-on-6 battle, it all comes down to Ash's Charizard versus Gary's Blastoise. Ash finally gets the win he's been chasing for years. But the real satisfaction wasn't just the win, it was what came after. Gary, humbled, finally shows Ash respect. He acknowledges his strength and decides to become a researcher. It's the collapse of his ego, not in a fiery explosion, but in a quiet moment of maturity that brings his character full circle. Number 3 is the defeat of a man who was less a villain and more of a living legend, Drake, the head leader of the Orange Crew. In the Orange Islands, Drake was an undefeated champion, a final boss in every sense of the word. He wasn't arrogant, he was just on another level. His Pokémon were incredibly powerful, especially his Dragonite that had never lost a battle. The whole arc built him up as an unbeatable force. The downfall here is satisfying because it's a pure, unadulterated triumph of the underdog. The final battle was a marathon. Drake's Dragonite alone took out half of Ash's team. It all came down to a tired, battered Pikachu against the legend. No one thought it was possible, but through sheer grit, Pikachu lands a point-blank thunder attack. The moment the undefeated Dragonite fell, the stadium was in shock. It was a pure, emotional victory that proved Ash had reached a new level, not by toppling an ego, but by shattering a legend.
Our runner-up is a different kind of downfall. Elaine was never a true villain. He was a tragic hero. He was singularly focused on becoming the strongest to protect those he cared about, but this obsession led him to unknowingly aid Lysander. His rivalry with Ash and Kalos culminated in a controversial win for him at the Lumiose conference, but that victory was hollow. It was immediately followed by Team Flare's attack, an event his work helped enable. His true downfall came some time later in the Masters 8 tournament. Now a top-ranked trainer, he was pitted against World Monarch Leon. And Elaine, the same trainer who defeated Ash, was utterly decimated. This loss was a humbling blow, but it also recontextualized everything. It wasn't a loss to Ash, but it was a loss that paved the way for Ash's ultimate victory. It satisfied fans by showing that while Elaine was strong, he was just a stepping stone on the path to Ash becoming the very best. And at number 1, the most satisfying downfall in Pokémon history is the complete and total shattering of Paul's cold-hearted philosophy. Paul wasn't just a rival, he was Ash's antithesis. He believed Pokémon were nothing more than tools. He valued innate power above all else, callously releasing any Pokémon he deemed weak. His methods were cruel, efficient, and for a long time, devastatingly effective. The heart of their rivalry was Chimchar, a Pokémon Paul abused for being pathetic before abandoning it. Ash took Chimchar in, promising to prove Paul wrong. This set the stage for the ultimate ideological showdown in the Sinnoh League. It looked like Paul's brutal efficiency would win out again, but it all came down to Ash's Infernape, the very same Chimchar that Paul had cast aside. In a climactic clash, Infernape, battered and exhausted, activated its Blaze ability. But this time, it controlled the rage, channeling all the pain of its past into one final, heroic push. You're not just watching a Pokémon battle, you're watching the physical embodiment of Ash's philosophy of trust overwhelming Paul's philosophy of power. Infernape's victory wasn't just a win for Ash, it was vindication. Seeing the look of utter defeat on Paul's face as his entire belief system crumbled before his eyes is, without a doubt, the most satisfying downfall of them all. From arrogant prodigies to would-be world conquerors, these downfalls are more than just defeats. They are essential moments of narrative catharsis. They prove that in the world of Pokémon, strength isn't just about power, it's about heart and the bonds we forge. Paul's defeat wasn't just a loss, it was a lesson that has resonated with fans for years.